It's impossible to say where we would be now, where those relationships would be now, but there is no way that the distance between my brother and I would be the same.
Do you think of how, like, do you sort of mentally or spiritually ask for help as to, like, what can I do to fix this? Any advice she might give you in this moment?
I've said quite a lot recently in these in different interviews that I've been doing that I've really felt the presence of my mum, especially in the last couple of years. And I detail in the book my brother and I talking at her grave and how he felt as though she had been with him for a long period of time and helped set him up with life, and that he felt she was now moving over to me. And I have felt her more in the last 2 years than I have in the last 30.
Well, the last 2 years is very interesting because you're 38 and she was 36 when she died. What was that? What is a moment like when someone at a young age loses a parent? For many people, it's a significant moment when you become older than that parent who looms so large in your mind. When you're older than they are, when you've seen more of life than they have, such as it is. What was that moment like for you? Or was it significant at all?
Well, she died at 36, and I was 36 when this all kicked off. As in January of 2020 was when my wife and I basically said, enough, we can't cope, we can't deal with this, we need to carve out something different. So that was an interesting overlap of time.
You talk about her death, or that moment in your life, as being a wall.
Yep.
Over which you couldn't see. Was that, how do you see that wall now that you've been through self-reflection, some therapy about that? Have you been able to see over it in some ways?
No, I've definitely been able to see over it. I would say that I haven't necessarily kicked it down, but I've managed to reach to the top and start removing bricks as opposed to poking one through and having a look and poking another one through. The wall has reduced in size. That is partly through writing a book, partly through therapy and having her scent, her perfume, and spraying it and being able to unlock memories that I never thought I had. But there are memories pre-12-year-old Harry that I will never be able to access. And that sucks. That's really sad. But again, I imagine it is so relatable for so many people because as far as I'm concerned, with all the work that I've done on myself, but also the stories that I've heard from so many people, not just veterans, that I'm convinced that 99.9% of people on planet Earth are walking around with some form of unresolved grief, trauma, or loss. And with that comes these filters, of which acts as a fog. And every opportunity we have to be able to clean the windscreen, take the filters away, and actually see life as it is and be able to live a truly authentic life, that, to me, has been the freedom that I didn't even know that I was looking for most of my life.
You say, like, 99% of people have some trauma. To be alive is to suffer in some way. And so often in this book, you say, I wanted to hug this person. Usually a member of your family. I wanted to hug this person. I wanted this person to hug me. And it doesn't happen. I don't think ever within your family the way that you're hoping that it will. Why, if all of us suffer, and I assume that your family is no different than ours as human beings, why don't y'all hug each other? Why can't you just hug each other? Surely they want to be hugged as well on a certain level.
There's a lot of people around who, by the way, I'm a big hugger now. But I did, you know, I was also the kind of individual who, whenever asked when I was younger, how are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you sad? I'm fine. Fine was the easy get out. Fine.
That's what you would say.
Fine was the response that you could guarantee that there wasn't going to be a follow-up question.
Right. Also, because as a child of trauma, you don't really want to dip into it.
You don't want to dip into it. And I certainly wasn't conscious of the reasons as to why I didn't want to dip into it. All I knew was that there was a defense mechanism.
And no one was helping you do that dipping into it?
No, God, no. I mean, this was back in 1997, right? Therapy wasn't really a conversation that was had. Not within my family and not really within British culture at all. I don't know how you guys were doing in 1997, but it wasn't really a regular thing. But you know, in one of today's newspapers, apparently I'm trapped in the cult of psychotherapy.